That Saints team yesterday against that Niners defense that has been heralded as this historic defense. Now, granted, they might have had a bad day. They were able to move the ball. Michael Thomas is still getting the ball so often on such a regular basis when teams are game planning for him. The way Sean Payton can create players and stars is impressive. Last year was Kamara. Kamara this year is getting booed out of New Orleans, by the way. If you check Twitter in New Orleans is not for Kamara. They love Latavius Murray, who's been brought into the light. But look back, Jimmy Graham was created because of Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Like, you go back through, Sean Payton creates stars. This year, Michael Thomas is that guy. Now, granted, I'm not saying that Michael Thomas doesn't have any talent, but the way Sean Payton and Drew Brees can draw up plays and make things happen, it really exploits defenses. And that Niners defense got exploited yesterday. I assume they'll learn from it and bounce back from it. But Jimmy G and that Niners offense, which I thought, and I had said, and I think a lot of people said had been the weak point of that team.
Oh, yeah.
Showed a lot yesterday. In a very, very rompous. Now, granted, there was a lot of Niners fans there.
Mm-hmm.
It came out earlier in the week that the Niners fans said, we're not scared to play down there. Our fans show up everywhere. And the Saints kind of took that personally. They're like, wait, you think you're going to show up? There was a parade down Bourbon Street of Niners fans saying, who that? We that. Who that? We that. I mean, the Niners fans travel. So in the playoffs, they're going to have a lot of people everywhere, and they could potentially have home field advantage up there in Santa Clara. But that win with that offensive side of the ball with George Kittle, who's an absolute savage. That dude, Iowa Hawkeye, go Hawks. You got to feel good about that, Ty Schmidt. He is an absolute savage. That fourth down play where the guy was trying to rip his face off, and he just powered through to pick up another 17 yards to put Robbie Gould, who's welcome back, by the way, Robbie Gould. He missed like a 50-yard or 20-yard short last week. Now he's banging home game winners from 30. He looks good. With Robbie Gould and everything they got going on with that defense, who's probably not going to perform like they did yesterday, that Niners team, you got to be back on board with. I mean, that Saints 49ers game yesterday was awesome. But the NFC, what's that?
It was really good.
Yeah, defense kind of disappeared. Does that happen every once in a while? Like, for instance, last week the Niners take on the Ravens in a heavyweight slugfest. I mean, they stay in Florida. They go over to the Superdome. And both those teams' defenses, I think we both expected a little bit more out of them. But instead it was the offenses, and especially that 49ers offense showed up when nobody thought they could. Should they be worried about the defense just having one bad day? And how happy should they be about the Niners offense showing up and showing out?
Well, that's one of the best to do it, coaching-wise and quarterback-wise, Breeze and Peyton for the New Orleans Saints. So, every once in a while the team has your number. It's a matchup issue. You would say that coming into the game, if Drew Brees and Sean Payton can game plan you, it's going to be a matchup problem just because of the talent that they have and what they're capable of doing. But then you got to look at the 49ers the same exact way. So the fact that it was a scoring fest, I wouldn't look for that to be too often with the type of defense that San Francisco or the New Orleans Saints play.
Okay.
But I just think it was two top teams that were playing really well, and they got into rhythms. And sometimes it's just going to be shootouts.
That was, the NFC playoff is going to be so much fun to watch. I mean, you look at the Rams all of a sudden playing good football. The Seattle Seahawks get a loss last night, but then the Packers are winning ugly. I don't know if even their fans are that confident. The Vikings are hot. Obviously, the Niners, and the Saints. The NFC looks like it's something to be very much desired aside from the NFC East whenever it comes to playoff football.
I think it's going to be a fun playoff. I thought the New England game, I don't sleep on the AFC. I think that this is going to be one of the most competitive playoffs and Super Bowls that we've seen in recent history. So whoever it is, it's going to be pretty well played to get to the Super Bowl this year, especially in the NFC. So I like the Niners. I really do. I think the Niners are really showing that they have the ability to win the games. I know there's questions surrounding whether Garoppolo or Shanahan can make the calls. Can Garoppolo make the throws, manage the games, make the plays? I really like the way the Niners are playing, and to be able to get that type of a win, I'm looking at them as the front runner. But like you said, there's so many teams in the NFC that are playing so well that there's no really no way of telling who may be the hottest team hitting the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that Niners offense answered a lot of questions yesterday. I mean, granted, the defense didn't show up at the same time because Sean Payton and Drew Brees, but I think for me, I learned a lot more about that offense and had a lot more respect for that Niners team after what they did yesterday. I think everybody does.